The Stoic secret to mental control. You are not losing your mind. You just never learned how to hold it. Every single day, life is throwing storms at you. Deadlines, betrayals, failures, people who disappoint you, situations that spiral out of control. And instead of standing like that flame, still, burning, unmoved, most people get swept away. They react. They spiral. They hand over the controls to whoever or whatever disturbed them last. And here's the brutal truth nobody's saying out loud. Your mind, unmastered, is your biggest enemy. Not the economy. Not your past. Not other people. Your own uncontrolled mind. But what if there was a system, a 2,000-year-old system, built by generals, emperors, and slaves, that could teach you to take back control? Not fake positivity. Not breathe and smile nonsense. A cold, logical, unbreakable system for mastering your mental state no matter what's happening around you. That's what today is about. This is Stoicism, and it's the most powerful mind control tool ever created. Let's go. Part 1. Why your mind is out of control. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up. Before your feet even hit the floor, you've already checked your phone. There are 3 notifications, one from someone who said something that annoys you, one piece of bad news, and a bill you forgot about. And just like that, your day is already running you. You didn't choose your first thought this morning. You didn't choose your first emotion. They were handed to you, by an algorithm, by another person, by circumstance, and you just accepted them. Like a king who hands his crown to the first stranger who walks through the door. This is the default human condition. And the Stoics had a word for it. They called it living in a state of passions, path in Greek. These aren't just emotions. These are emotions that control you. Grief that drowns you. Fear that paralyzes you. Rage that hijacks your decisions. Desire that makes you irrational. Anxiety that runs like a background program eating all your processing power. The Stoics weren't saying, "Don't feel things." They weren't emotionless robots. In fact, the Stoic ideal was something far more interesting. They called it eupathia, good states. Joy instead of irrational pleasure. Caution instead of fear. Wishing instead of desperate craving. The difference? One is a response. The other is a reaction. One is you engaging with the world. The other is the world playing you like an instrument. And here's why this matters right now, in this era, more than any other time in history. We live in the most psychologically aggressive environment that has ever existed. Think about it. Every app on your phone, every notification, every like, every breaking news alert, is engineered by some of the smartest people on the planet to provoke a reaction from you. They want you anxious. They want you outraged. They want you scrolling. Because a calm, controlled, intentional person doesn't stay on the app. A reactive, emotional, impulsive person does. You are being hunted. And the weapon they're hunting you with is your own uncontrolled mind. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, a man who was literally born a slave, said this. No man is free who is not master of himself. Read that again. A slave, a man with zero physical freedom, understood that the ultimate freedom is internal. That the only chains that truly bind you are the ones in your own mind. So the question isn't whether you're free. The question is, are you the master of what happens between your ears? If you're still watching, I'm guessing the answer is, not as much as I'd like to be. That changes today. Part 2, the Dichotomy of Control, the foundation of everything. Everything in Stoic philosophy, every technique, every insight, every practice, rests on one single foundation. Once you get this, everything else clicks. It's called the Dichotomy of Control. And it goes like this. There are 2 categories of things in your life. Category 1, things within your control. Category 2, things outside your control. That's it. That's the whole system. Everything. Your entire life. Every situation. Every relationship. Every problem falls into one of those 2 buckets. Epictetus opens his manual, the Enchiridion, with this exact idea. He writes, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." Let me break this down because it's more radical than it sounds. What's in your control? Your thoughts, your judgments, your values, your choices, your effort, your response to what happens. That's it. That's the whole list. What's not in your control? Everything else. The weather, other people's opinions, the economy, whether you get the job, whether the traffic is bad, whether someone likes you, whether you get sick, whether you succeed on the first try. Now, most people spend 90% of their mental energy on the second category, the stuff they cannot control, and they spend almost nothing on the first. This is why they're exhausted. This is why they're anxious. This is why they feel powerless. They're fighting battles they structurally cannot win, while completely neglecting the territory where they have total sovereignty. Imagine you're playing chess. And instead of moving your pieces, the pieces you control, you spend the entire game trying to convince the other player not to move their pieces. You get frustrated. You bargain. You plead. You rage. Meanwhile, your side of the board is chaos. That's most people's lives. Now here's where people misunderstand Stoicism, and I want to kill this misconception right now. The dichotomy of control does not mean you don't care about outcomes. It doesn't mean you're passive. It doesn't mean you don't try hard. It doesn't mean you accept mediocrity and call it stoic. It means you put your energy, your mental, emotional energy, where it actually matters. On your effort, your choices, your response. Not on outcomes you can't dictate. The archer draws the bow. The archer aims. The archer trains for years. The archer gives everything to the shot. And then, the arrow leaves the string. Wind blows. And the archer cannot control where it lands. The Stoic archer is not attached to the landing. They're attached to the excellence of the release. This is not weakness. This is the most powerful mental posture there is. Because when you stop needing things outside yourself to go a certain way in order to feel okay, you become unstoppable. You're not desperate anymore. You're not fragile anymore. You cannot be manipulated by fear of loss, because you've already made peace with the things you don't control. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the most powerful empire on earth, used to remind himself of this constantly. In his private journal, Meditations, which was never meant to be published, remember, this was a man talking to himself, he writes over and over. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is a man commanding armies, dealing with plagues, managing a corrupt senate, and fighting wars on multiple fronts, and his daily practice was reminding himself, control what you can control. If it worked for him, it can work for you. Practical exercise, the control audit. Right now, or after this video, take out a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. Left column. In my control. Right column. Not in my control. Think about your biggest source of stress right now. Write every component of it in one of those two columns. What you'll discover is that most of your stress lives in the right column. And once you see that, once you physically see that you're spending your mental energy on things you cannot move, something shifts. You stop fighting the wrong battle. And you start winning the right one. Part 3, the Inner Citadel, Building Your Mental Fortress. Marcus Aurelius had a concept he kept returning to in Meditations. He called it the Inner Citadel. The idea is this: imagine that deep inside you, past the noise, past the emotions, past the fear and the frustration, there is a fortress. Stone walls. Unbreachable. And inside that fortress lives the real you. The rational, purposeful, grounded you. The world can attack. Life can throw everything it has. Circumstances can crumble. People can betray you. And none of it, gets through those walls unless you open the gate yourself. Here's the key line from Marcus. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Modern philosopher Ryan Holiday popularized this as, "The obstacle is the way," but Marcus was writing it 2,000 years ago in a tent on a battlefield. What does this actually mean? It means that the Stoic doesn't experience obstacles as interruptions to their life. They experience them as the curriculum. Every problem is a lesson. Every setback is a strength-building machine. Every difficult person is a patience-forging furnace. Your mind doesn't get strong in comfort. It gets strong in resistance. Think about how muscles work. You don't get stronger by resting. You get stronger by stress, by tearing the muscle fiber and letting it rebuild. The Stoics understood that mental strength works the same way. Every time life hits you and you choose your response, instead of reacting blindly, you are literally building your inner citadel, brick by brick. But here's where it gets deeper. The philosopher Seneca, who was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, and also one of its greatest Stoic teachers, wrote something that sounds almost paradoxical. "It is not that I'm brave. It is that I know what is truly bad and what is not." This is the secret ingredient. Stoic mental control isn't just willpower. It's a re-education of judgment. It's training yourself to correctly identify what is genuinely harmful and what only appears to be harmful. Most of what we fear isn't actually dangerous. Most of what we're anxious about never happens. Most of what makes us angry isn't worth the cortisol it costs us. The Stoics had a practice for this called cognitive reframing, though they didn't use that term. They would ask themselves, "Is this truly bad? Or does it only seem bad?" Someone insults you. Is that truly bad? They haven't hurt your body. They haven't taken your property. They've produced sounds with their mouth. The pain you feel is your judgment about those sounds, not the sounds themselves. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds cold. That sounds like suppression. But it's not. Here's the distinction. Suppression is pretending you don't feel something. Stoic reframing is accurately assessing whether the thing you're feeling is worth the response you're giving it. You're not suppressing. You're being accurate. You're being an honest scientist of your own experience. And over time, that fortress gets built. Response by response. Choice by choice. And eventually you develop what the Stoics called apatheia. Not apathy in the modern sense, but freedom from destructive passion. A kind of grounded, unshakable calm that doesn't break when life gets ugly. That's the inner citadel. And it's available to you. Right now. It just requires the work. Part 4, Memento Mori, the death meditation that makes you fully alive. I want to talk about something most people flinch from. Death. Not in a dark, depressing way. In a liberating way. Because the Stoics had one of the most counterintuitive mental tools in human history, and it involves staring directly at your own mortality. They called it Memento Mori. Latin for, remember that you will die. Now, before you click away, hear me out. Because this practice, done right, is one of the most life-intensifying things you can do for your mental state. Here's the problem with most people's relationship with death: they ignore it. They push it to some distant corner of their consciousness and pretend it isn't coming. And as a result, they drift. They waste days. They have the same argument for the 10th time with a family member and storm off thinking, "I'll deal with this later." They postpone the dream. They watch another 4 hours of content that doesn't matter. They let pettiness consume energy that should be going toward meaning. And then something happens, a health scare, the death of someone close, a near accident, and suddenly everything snaps into horrifying clarity. The petty argument seems absurd. The wasted days feel criminal. The unmade phone call to an old friend feels like a tragedy. The Stoics said, don't wait for that moment. Build it in deliberately. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." Seneca, who had a near-death illness that transformed him, wrote to his friend Lucilius, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. Balance life's books each day." What does that mean? It means, ask yourself every single day, if this were my last, would I be okay with how I spend it? Not in a morbid, paralyzing way. In a clarifying way. Because Memento Mori doesn't make you afraid of death. It makes you afraid of a wasted life. And that fear, that healthy, productive fear, becomes fuel. It also does something else remarkable. It makes you present. When you genuinely feel the weight of the fact that this moment, this exact moment, is one you will never get back, it stops you from being somewhere else in your head. It stops you from half living while you scroll and worry and ruminate. It pulls you all the way in. There's a Roman practice. During victory parades, when generals returned triumphant, there would be a slave standing behind them in the chariot, whispering in their ear, Memento Mori. Respice post-te. Hominum te esse memento. Remember you will die. Look behind you. Remember that you are a man. Even at the peak of triumph. Even in the moment of greatest power. A reminder, you are mortal. Don't let success make you soft. Don't let victory make you forget. Now apply this to your daily mental life. When you're spiraling about something that won't matter in 5 years, imagine yourself at the end of your life looking back at this moment. Does this argument matter? Does this grudge matter? Does this need for approval from someone who barely knows you matter? Almost never. And when you find something that does matter, your creative work, your relationships, your growth, your contribution, the reminder of death makes you throw yourself at it completely. This is why Memento Mori is not depressing. It's the opposite. It's the most life-affirming practice in the Stoic toolkit. Daily practice. Every morning, take 60 seconds. Just 60. And remind yourself, this day is a gift I didn't earn and cannot keep. What will I do with it? That 60 seconds, done consistently, will change the texture of your entire life. Part 5. Negative Visualization, the ancient antidote to anxiety. Here's a Stoic technique that sounds counterintuitive, even dangerous, until you understand what it actually does. It's called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Or more gently, negative visualization. The idea, deliberately imagine the worst that could happen. Picture losing the things you value. The job, the relationship, the health, the reputation. Really sit with it. Feel the weight of it. Before you say, that sounds like anxiety on purpose. Here's why it's the cure for anxiety, not the cause. Anxiety is the uncontrolled imagination running disaster scenarios involuntarily. It's your brain doing negative visualization badly, chaotically, obsessively, without resolution. Premeditatio malorum is doing it deliberately, briefly, and with a specific purpose, to be ready, and to generate gratitude. Seneca wrote, let us think about all the things that can disturb us, exile, torture, wars, shipwreck, and accustom our mind to bear them. 2 reasons this works. Reason 1, inoculation. If you've already mentally rehearsed losing your job, if you've already sat with that reality and thought through what you do, then when your boss calls you into that meeting, you don't dissolve. You've been there. Not physically, but mentally. You've already rehearsed your response. You already know you can survive it. This is exactly what elite military units do. They rehearse catastrophe. Not because they want it to happen, but because the mind that has visited the worst-case scenario is not shocked by it. And an unshocked mind can function. A shocked mind cannot. Reason 2, gratitude. This is the one most people don't see coming. When you sit quietly and genuinely imagine not having the things you currently have, the person sleeping in the next room, the coffee you're holding, the function of your own legs, something happens. You stop taking them for granted. Suddenly, ordinary life becomes extraordinary. The Tuesday morning that felt boring becomes something you didn't have to be given. The relationship that you've been criticizing becomes something you almost can't believe you get to have. Epictetus said, seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves. But I'd add, and practice seeing the good that's already in your life by briefly imagining its absence. The Stoics called the opposite of this hedonic adaptation, the way humans get used to good things and stop experiencing them. The new car becomes ordinary. The promotion becomes the baseline. The relationship loses its electricity. Because you adapted? You forgot that it was a gift. Negative visualization reverses hedonic adaptation. It wakes you back up to what you have. This is why Stoics were not joyless. They were some of the most grateful humans who ever lived. Not because their circumstances were perfect. Marcus Aurelius dealt with plague, war, and the death of multiple children. Epictetus was a slave. Seneca was exiled. But they practiced seeing what they had before they lost it. The practice. Pick one thing tonight that matters to you. A person. A ability. A circumstance. Spend 3 minutes genuinely imagining life without it. Not to torture yourself, but to see it clearly. Then open your eyes and look at that thing, or that person, as if you're seeing it for the first time. That feeling? That warmth? That's not manufactured. That's accurate perception. That's how it actually is. You just forgot. Part 6. The view from above, zooming out to find sanity. Marcus Aurelius had a habit. He'd zoom out. Mentally. All the way out. He'd take whatever was bothering him, a political crisis, an insult, a failure, and he'd mentally climb higher and higher above it. Until he could see his city, then his empire, then the earth, then the cosmos. And from that vantage point, he'd look back down at his problem. He wrote, "How many a Chrysippus, how many a Socrates, how many an Epictetus, how many others have time already swallowed up?" Translation: brilliant, powerful, influential people, people who made the world shake, have been completely swallowed by time. They're gone. Their dramas are gone. Their urgent problems are gone. All that noise, silence. And you're worried about what someone said about you at work. This isn't nihilism. Marcus isn't saying nothing matters. He's saying, most of what feels enormous is actually tiny. And the sooner you can see that, the sooner you stop giving tiny things enormous energy. He described this practice explicitly. You have the power to strip away many superfluous troubles which lie wholly in your judgment, and to clear yourself immediately into a large space, comprehending the whole universe in your mind, contemplating the eternity of time, and watching the rapid change of every part of everything. This is what modern psychology calls cognitive diffusion, the ability to step back from your thoughts and see them as thoughts rather than absolute reality. But Marcus was doing it from a cosmic perspective. He'd remember that he was one human, in one era, on one tiny planet, in a universe so vast that his most pressing crisis was, mathematically speaking, less than a rounding error. Does that make life meaningless? No. It makes petty suffering meaningless. It creates space for meaningful suffering, the kind that comes from actually caring about something worth caring about. The view from above practice also does something neurologically fascinating. It activates the prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, and quiets the amygdala, your reactive brain. It literally calms the storm at a neurological level by shifting your perspective spatially and temporally. The practice. The next time something hits you hard, try this. Close your eyes. Mentally zoom out. See yourself in the room. Then the building. Then the city. Then the country. Then the planet. Then the solar system. Then the galaxy. Now look back. Ask, in the context of all of this, how important is this moment? How permanent is this problem? You're not diminishing your life. You're right-sizing your reaction. And from that place of right-sized perspective, you can respond wisely instead of react wildly. Part 7, Amor Fati, loving what is. This is the most advanced concept in Stoic mental mastery. And it's the one that, if you actually internalize it, separates you from almost every other person walking this earth. It's called Amor Fati. Latin for love of fate. Not acceptance of fate. Not tolerance of fate. Love. Nietzsche, who was deeply influenced by the Stoics, described it this way. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. Marcus Aurelius, in his own way, wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That's the image. Not enduring the fire. Not surviving the fire. Being the fire. Turning everything, pain, loss, failure, rejection, into fuel. Into brightness. Here's the thing about Amor Fati that makes it different from fake positivity. It doesn't deny that bad things are bad. It doesn't say, everything happens for a reason, in that shallow way that dismisses real pain. It says something harder and more honest: this happened. It cannot unhappen. Now, what will I make of it? Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps and wrote Man's Search for Meaning, wasn't a Stoic, but he arrived at the same conclusion through the most brutal possible experimentation. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." That's Amor Fati. When you cannot change what is, you change your relationship to it. Not passively. Actively. Creatively. With everything you have. Thomas Edison's factory burned to the ground. He watched $3 million of work destroyed in a single night. He was 67 years old. And he reportedly said, while watching the flames, "All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." That's not denial. That's Amor Fati. That's the fire making brightness out of what's thrown into it. Now, I want to be honest with you about how hard this is. Amor Fati is not a switch you flip. It's not a mindset you adopt in an afternoon. It is a practice, a daily, ongoing, sometimes painful practice of choosing love over resentment when life doesn't go the way you wanted. Some days you won't be able to do it. You'll be in the grief. You'll be in the anger. And that's okay. The Stoics weren't saying, never hurt. They were saying, even in the hurt, don't surrender your agency. Even in the worst of it, keep asking, what can I do with this? Because the alternative, Amor Fati's opposite, which is resentment, is the most corrosive substance on earth. Resentment doesn't punish the thing that hurt you. It punishes you. It keeps you anchored to a past you cannot change, burning energy that could be going toward a future you can build. The Stoic chooses the future. The reframe. Take your biggest current failure or loss. The thing that stings. The thing you're still carrying. Ask, what has this forced me to become that I wouldn't have become otherwise? You may not be able to answer that yet. That's fine. Plant the question. Water it. The answer comes. But the act of asking it, of orienting toward meaning instead of toward victimhood, that's the beginning of Amor Fati. That's the first brick of that fortress. Part 8. The Stoic Daily Practice. How to actually live this. Everything we've talked about is useless if it stays in your head. Stoicism was never meant to be a philosophy you read and admire from a distance. The Stoics were intensely practical. They didn't just think about how to live, they structured their days around practicing it. Here's what a Stoic mental control practice actually looks like in 2026. The morning, setting the governor. Epictetus said that before you leave your house, you should mentally prepare for what's coming. Step 1, the morning audit, 5 minutes. Before your phone. Before the news. Before anyone else's agenda enters your mind. Sit. Breathe. And ask 3 questions. What am I grateful for, that I might take for granted? Negative visualization, briefly. What do I want to accomplish today, and is it within my control? What challenges might I face today, and how do I want to show up? Marcus Aurelius did a version of this. He mentally prepared for difficult people. Today I will meet people who are ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest. But they are that way because they don't know better. I will not be harmed by them because I cannot be made to engage in their wrongdoing. He was presetting his response before the stimulus arrived. This is the cognitive equivalent of a warrior sharpening their sword before battle. You don't wait until the fight starts to prepare. You prepare when it's still quiet. Step 2, the intention, 1 minute. Set one Stoic focus for the day. Choose one virtue to practice: courage, justice, temperance, or wisdom. Not vaguely, specifically. Today, I will practice patience with my family. Today, I will practice honesty in my work. A day without an intention is a day that runs you. Throughout the day, the pause. This is the most powerful single skill in Stoic mental control, and it sounds embarrassingly simple. Before you react, pause. Viktor Frankl called it the space between stimulus and response. The Stoics called it prosok, attention to self. Modern neuroscience calls it response inhibition. Whatever you call it, it's the same thing. The tiny window between something happening and you doing something about it. That window, which feels like a millisecond but can be stretched with practice, is where your freedom lives. In that pause, you can ask, is this in my control? Is my instinctive reaction rational or just reactive? What response would the best version of me choose right now? Will this matter in a week? A year? 5 years? You won't always get this right. You'll miss it. You'll react badly. That's not failure, that's data. The practice is noticing afterward, and committing to catch it earlier next time. Marcus literally wrote himself notes about this. In meditations, he's constantly catching himself. I did this. I shouldn't have. Here's why. Here's what I'll do differently. He was his own coach, playing back his own tape, looking for adjustments. The pause practice. Start small. Pick one trigger, one situation that reliably makes you reactive, and just practice pausing before responding to that specific thing for 1 week. One trigger. 1 week. You'll be stunned how much that single change shifts the rest of your mental life. The evening, the Stoic review. Seneca described this exact practice. Every night before sleep, he would review the day. He wasn't wallowing in regret, he was learning. 3 questions. What did I do well today? Reinforce the identity. What went right? Build on it. Where did I fall short of who I want to be? Not with self-loathing. With honesty. Like a doctor reviewing a patient chart. No drama. Just data. What did I learn about myself or the world today? The day always teaches something if you're paying attention. This practice does 2 things. First, it brings your day to conscious closure. Your brain gets a sense of completion rather than leaving loose threads that keep you up at night. Second, it keeps you in a loop of intentional self-development. You're not drifting. You're tracking. You're growing. Seneca wrote about this habit. I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. He called it making peace with himself before sleep. And that's exactly what it produces. Not perfection. Peace. Because you engaged honestly. You didn't hide from yourself. And tomorrow, you'll do it again, slightly better. Part 9. The Stoic Relationship with Other People. Let's talk about the hardest part of mental mastery, other people. Because here's the dirty secret. You can have all the inner work perfectly dialed in, and then one text from that person undoes everything. The Stoics had a lot to say about this, and it's not what you expect. First, Marcus Aurelius had a practice of beginning each difficult interaction with a key reminder. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are this way because they cannot tell good from evil. That sounds harsh. But here's the compassion hidden inside it. He's not excusing bad behavior. He's explaining it. People who behave badly are not evil masterminds. They are unawakened. They are, as Marcus puts it, sick, and the right response to sick people isn't rage. It's the kind of calm, detached care a doctor has for a difficult patient. This is radically liberating, because it removes the story that makes bad behavior personal. When someone is rude to you, the Stoic response isn't, they hate me, or, I should destroy them. It's, they are suffering in some way that they don't understand, and it's coming out sideways onto me. You can still set boundaries. You can still walk away. You can still hold people accountable. But you do it from a place of clarity and calm, not from wounded pride or hot anger. Second, and this is where the Stoics get really interesting, They believed in cosmopolitanism. The idea that all humans share a rational nature, and therefore we are all, in a deep sense, members of the same community. Marcus writes, "What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee. We are social animals. Our well-being is intertwined. You cannot truly flourish while being indifferent to the people around you." This is the Stoic counter to the misunderstanding that Stoicism is about cold isolation. It's not. The Stoic engages deeply with the world, but from a grounded, unattached place. They love. They care. They serve. They just don't need things from people in a way that gives those people control over their peace. The Stoic can be fully present in a relationship without being owned by it. And practically? The most important skill here is, never respond to emotion with emotion. When someone comes at you hot, angry, accusatory, provocative, the reactive human matches the energy. Heat meets heat. Conflict escalates. The Stoic drops the temperature. Not by being cold. By being grounded. By responding to the person's pain, which is what's underneath all anger, rather than their presentation, which is the anger itself. This is disarming in the most literal sense. You cannot fight someone who won't fight back. And a person who responds to your anger with genuine calm and curiosity. "I can see this matters to you. Help me understand." That person has more power in that moment than anyone who shouts back. Part 10. The Compound Effect. What Mastery Actually Looks Like. I want to close on something that's rarely said in these kinds of videos. Mastering your mind is not a weekend project. It's not a challenge. It's not a 30-day transformation. It's a life's work. And I want you to know that before you start, not to discourage you, but to calibrate your expectations correctly. Because if you go in expecting fast results, and you don't get them, you'll conclude that Stoicism doesn't work. And you'll be wrong. You just had the wrong timeline. The Roman Stoics practiced every single day. Marcus Aurelius wrote his personal meditations, basically a private journal of Stoic practice, for years. Not because he'd failed to master it and kept having to restart, but because mastery requires daily practice. Even at the top. Think about the best musician you know of. Do they stop practicing when they get good? No. Practice is how they stay good. Your mind is the same. But here's the extraordinary thing about compounding mental mastery. The more you practice the pause, the more natural it becomes. The more you do the Dichotomy of Control audit, the faster your brain learns to sort automatically. The more you do the evening review, the more your days become intentional rather than accidental. The more you practice Memento Mori, the more fully alive each ordinary day feels. And one day, not dramatically, not in a single lightning bolt moment, you notice that you're different. Someone says something that 6 months ago would have ruined your week, and you observe it, process it, and release it in about 30 seconds. Something goes wrong that 6 months ago would have sent you into a spiral, and you find yourself asking, calmly, almost curiously, "Okay, what can I control here?" The storm hits. And you are the flame. Still. Burning. Unmoved. That's Stoic mental mastery. Not the absence of difficulty. The presence of groundedness in the middle of difficulty. Epictetus, the slave who became the most influential philosopher of his age, said it best. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. That's it. That's the whole teaching in one line. Use what you have. Release what you don't. Be present. Be intentional. Be grounded. Master your mind before life does it. Life doesn't ask for your permission before it arrives. The job loss doesn't wait until you're ready. The heartbreak doesn't knock first. The diagnosis, the failure, the betrayal, they just show up. And in those moments, there's only one variable you will ever truly own. Your response. Not the circumstance. Your response. The Stoics spent 2,000 years teaching this. Generals and slaves and emperors, all arriving at the same conclusion. The mind mastered is the last fortress that cannot fall. So start building. Start today. Even badly. Even imperfectly. Even just with the pause, That tiny, revolutionary pause between stimulus and response. Because the gap between who you are and who you could be is not made of talent, or luck, or timing. It's made of thousands of small moments where you chose intention over reaction. Master those moments, and you master your life. If this hit you, share it with someone who needs it. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. And if you're ready to go deeper, the next video is already waiting. Let's go.